Hey, Antis Gaming here, back again with another Last Oasis video. Today we will be discussing a topic which I hear a lot of these past few days. Is Last Oasis dying? Is the game dead? Obviously this is a question which you just can't say yes or no to. So let's not waste any time and get straight into it. Enjoy the video. Like you've probably noticed, a lot of people, including myself, have taken a break at some point from the game, which is normal. And of course we can all Google Steam charts of Last Oasis and see that there's been a massive decline in players these last few weeks or months, but that is normal with any pre-alpha game. Also, we must not forget that this game was released during a pandemic of COVID-19. This means that most people who have daily jobs stayed at home and had free time on their hands. These last few weeks, people have started going back to their work and their daily routines, and don't necessarily have the time for a game like Last Oasis. Many of these people which played Last Oasis are also new to MMOs and didn't necessarily have the correct mindset and mentality for a survival game, since they get very attached to their walkers and personal belongings. So when they lose things, they end up being really salty or rage quitting very often. Survival MMOs isn't a game which is suited for most people. It only appeals to a specific audience, which we must keep in mind. This brings me back to the main question of this video. Is Last Oasis dying? In my honest opinion, no it isn't. The game still has a lot to offer, the devs are releasing frequent content updates, and there is still a lot of PvP action on a daily basis. A game with 5,000 people actively playing is not a dead game. But for sure adjustments should be made in Last Oasis to retain players, because if not, in a month or two we could actually be looking at a dead game. Now let's look at the three main reasons why people are quitting and how Last Oasis developers could potentially fix these issues. Problem number 1, the endless grind for tablets. The grind for tablets is never ending. This is not even taking into consideration large clans. If you want to grind to be more knowledgeable in the tech tree, it takes ages. And the thing which sucks about it is the risk factor. We all know fragment farming isn't hard at all, but then you have to go to the fabricator where you are faced with the risk of being griefed. Now after that, because there are 3 different types of tablets, you either need to save up or trade. And if you are saving for an expensive unlock, like for example a wingsuit which is 50 tablets, and it takes quite a grind, you face the risk of being raided if you ever take out the base which you are storing those tablets in. At the end, the risk versus reward isn't that great, because you spend countless of hours saving up for say now a wingsuit, and then bam, 50 tablets gone. And then all you have to show for it is a wingsuit unlock. And then you can repeat the process over and over and over. Well, I'm assuming you get the point now. So how can the Last Oasis devs fix this? The easiest way to fix it, in my opinion, would be to reduce a lot of the items in the tech tree's tablet cost, and also make that there is only one type of tablet, just like there is only one type of fragment. But to be honest, only reducing the cost of most items in the tech tree would already help a lot. Problem number 2, the struggle for iron. By now we all know getting iron is a hassle. Mining it with high tier master pickaxes gives you roughly between 4 to 7 iron ore per stone. Even though this temporary oasis is good content and there is a lot of PvP, it's mostly just swamped by large clans running over everyone they see, making it super hard for smaller clans to get any iron in peak hours. They are forced to mine iron at weird hours like early mornings when people are sleeping. Since we all know the fastest way to gather a lot of iron is by placing multiple quarries in the center of an asteroid map, this is yet another thing smaller clans can't do. They don't have the manpower to hold the middle of an asteroid map for 2 hours, because they will just get zerged on. Typically when you do solo or duo runs, you can gather around 30 to maybe 150 iron ore depending on your run and if you are fast in peak hours, which quite frankly isn't anything. It's just too much risk for smaller clans. At the end, the grind for iron is way too time consuming for what you get out of it, taking into consideration the massive risk you are taking when going solo or in a small group. So how can the Last Oasis devs fix this? Well, for starters, I believe they should already double the amount you get from a single ore, This would already, in my opinion, be a step into the right direction. Also, they could have more asteroid sites spawning at the same time, which could force larger clans to split their forces, which could give smaller clans at least a fighting chance. The third and final problem is the player cap, which needs to be completely reworked. This was honestly a great thing which was implemented into the game, which provided smaller clans with the opportunity to hold their own server. This was a step into the right direction, but large clans ignored this, and even with their water being drained faster and respawns costing a lot more water, they would just walk over the smaller clans. The devs then made a positive change again of doubling the water cost. Even after those changes, large clans are still bullying small clans off capped servers, which they clearly don't need, which actually in a way is killing the game, because there are a lot of smaller clans, a lot more than large clans. So why is the water cost change not that good at the end? Well, if large clans want to take your proxy on a 5 or 12 player cap, they can still do it. They just equip each person with 2 bottles of water and a water bag. Then they go up to the proxy, put 50 fire arrows in it and keep gassing it, which results in the small clan losing their oasis. Also, since most large clans have allies, they can just come with multiple allies and do the exact same thing. So how can the Last Oasis devs fix this? I personally don't know how they can fix the ally problem. And by an ally problem, I mean big large clans having numerous, I'm talking about 5, 6, 7 to 8 allies. I don't think they can fix this right now. But one thing they should implement on these player capped oases is exactly the same thing when a server is full. You wait in a queue. If the server cap is 12 and you send 15 people on a walker, I'm very sorry, but 3 of your people will be asleep, on your ship, and in queue, until someone from your team leaves or disconnects from the game. This will make clans be more respectful of the player cap and maybe leave 5 or 12 player cap oases to the smaller clans who actually benefit from this. If large clans still wishes to attack this player cap servers, they can still do it. It will just be a more fair fight and come down to skill and not who has more numbers in the fight. Even though there are many more smaller things which could be tweaked, fixed, reworked or even changed completely, we must remember this is a pre-alpha game, and the state of the game thus far is quite amazing if you compare it to other games of the same genre like Atlas or Ark Survival Evolved when they released. I honestly believe if the Last Oasis community on the Last Oasis Discord could stop crying, moaning and complaining 24/7 and instead help the developers to report bugs, glitches, cheaters, instead of whining all day about zergs or when there is a crash. It is a pre-alpha game, crashes will happen, things will be changed, whether it's stuff being nerfed or buffed. To find the right balance in the game, which is normal. Being immature and insulting the developers is not the right way to go about it, in my opinion. At the end, it is important that the developers of Last Oasis keeps the community informed at all times, because at the end this is what the people want, to be informed. So all this complaining and trash talking the community doesn't help them to improve the game we all love. To sum it all up, the drop in players over the last few weeks does not mean the game is dead, it's just less populated because of the reasons I mentioned in this video. But with more content being added to the game, we will see players return. It is a pre-alpha game, so things will change for the greater good, but the game has a lot of potential to be even better. At its current state, it is lacking content, appropriate changes need to be made, changes and reworks of weapons, armors will happen in time. It's highly likely that we will see less oases spawn in the next couple of weeks because of the drop of players. But when the game gets more people going again, we will see a lot more oases spawn once again. If you want to see another YouTuber's point of view on this subject, go head over to Bushman's channel. I'll link it in the description below. He recently made a video on the current state of the game, and he also is showing a neat little trick where you can hide an unbreakable large chest on a hard map. This is it for my video, guys. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a like. Also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more Last Oasis content. Don't hesitate to drop a comment down below on your thoughts of the current state of the game. I'll see you in my next video, stay safe and peace!